I've seen a lot of horror movies in my life, and one thing I've always disliked is how a lot of them have a lack of an arc, or any type of cohesion. A lot of the most popular slasher flicks are notorious for having bad endings, especially for their main characters. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Not every movie needs to be The Godfather, nor should it try to be. But a lot of these cheesy films are great in their own regard. But there's always been a standout for me in this genre, and that's Scream 3. Released on February 4th in the year 2000, Scream 3 follows our female protagonist, Sidney Prescott, as she once again has a run-in with the Ghostface copycat. And this is very run-of-the-mill for a Scream movie. However, one scene that fascinates me about this movie is the ending. The ending sequence of Scream 3 manages to give Sidney her own conclusion that you don't normally see in typical slasher films, especially those with multiple entries. See, at the start of the film, we see Sidney has completely isolated herself from the rest of the world. She lives in the middle of nowhere. She worked for the California Women's Crisis Counselor hotline from the comfort of her home, and she's changed her name to Laura. All of this is shown to us as an effect of the trauma she has suffered from the events of the first two films. We see her working with this woman who says she killed someone, only for it to be revealed to be another Ghostface copycat who managed to find her after killing Cotton. Despite her vulnerability and trauma, Sidney is immediately prepared for this, as she wastes no time getting her handgun and loading it. Sidney then gets involved in the overarching plot, but the movie plays out as you expect. Our cast slowly gets picked off one by one as we inch closer to the reveal of who the killer is. Fast forward to the final act. We find out that the killer is actually Roman Bridger, who drops the bombshell that he's actually Sidney's half-brother, and he's responsible for causing the chain reaction that caused all these events to happen by convincing Billy to become the Ghostface killer. This twist, while it's a bit far out there, makes this final confrontation a lot more personal for Sidney's character. This is indirectly framed this way to portray everything she's been traumatized by as a single entity. After a gruesome battle, Sidney finally takes Roman down. And now as the movie ends, the final scene takes place back again in Sidney's isolated home. Except in contrast to earlier, in the movie, we see Gail and Dewey looking on as Sidney is outside going on a jog with her dog. This is opposed to earlier in the movie when we see the house is empty. The lighting in the scene is framed as a warm, inviting color. They remark that she's doing great. Dewey makes the incredibly brave move to propose to Gail here. They remark on some of their past character moments and how they don't know everything. They kiss as she accepts his proposal. The scene then cuts back to Sidney. She comes in with her dog, this time leaving the gate to her house wide open. She goes inside. She hesitates to activate her security system, while her friends interrupt her and tell her to come watch a movie with them. She slowly starts walking away as the front door mysteriously opens. Sidney takes one long look at the door, and she calmly smiles and walks away. I absolutely love this ending for Sidney. This ending sees Sidney overcoming her trauma presented earlier and moving on from everything. It really is a beautiful bookend. I like the overall message that this ending gives. Your past doesn't define you. Your trauma is an obstacle you can overcome, no matter how deep it cuts. I like the optimistic view on things. I recently watched the movie Smile for the first time, and the message in that movie made me appreciate Scream 3 all so much more. The last scene of Smile gives the message that you can't overcome your trauma, no matter what, and you will forever be doomed to live on with that burden. I don't agree with that at all. I don't know who needs to hear this, but your trauma doesn't define who you are. You can overcome it, just like you can overcome anything. It won't be easy, but I believe in you.